and welcome to another Scottish mountain walking guide. For today's episode, I'm going to climb Beinn Bheula near Lochgoilhead in Argyll. The recognised route for this walk, as described on the Walk Highlands website, starts from Lettermay House on the outskirts of Lochgoilhead. The main challenge with this approach is finding somewhere to park. All of the local roads are single track and there is no walkers car park for this route. There is a car park in Lochgoilhead next to the post office, 2.6 kilometres away. Searching for Google Maps, I found a closer car park to the west of Beinn Bheula at the Lauder Monument. From the monument car park, there is a gravel road that takes you up to Hydro Dam over halfway up the western side Ascent. The remainder of the route is mostly over unmarked grassland. The Lauder Monument car park fits around 6 cars. It's free to park and has no height restrictions. It's an hour and 20 minutes drive from Glasgow and 2 hours and 20 minutes drive from Edinburgh. As always, links to the OS map for the walk, the starting point car park and the Scottish Mountain Weather website are included in the description. The total distance for today's walk is 9.5 kilometres with 774 metres of ascent. It is expected to take around 4 hours to walk. The route is fairly easy to navigate. There are no scrambling or tricky sections to traverse. There is one point on the ascent where there's some fissures in the ground that with snow could be covered up and that could be quite dangerous. I'll point out that area on the map. So starting from the Lauder Monument car park, you head in an easterly direction. This is a very large, well-made gravel road that goes through the forestry plantation here. You're going to follow it round to the left. It gains altitude quite steeply at this section and then comes to a junction. At that junction, you're going to take the left-hand road, another gravel road, but much less used than the main one. Follow this gravel road. It's a nice walk, it's not too steep at this point. You'll come to a bend here. There is a bit of road that goes straight on. You want to turn to your right. And again, it starts to get fairly steep as you ascend up. With the woodland on your right-hand side, you'll make your way up round this bend, and this is even steeper, this section. Continue to make your way up this gravel road. Now when you come to this point, there is a very faint gravel road on the right hand side, and I never saw that. When I was looking at the map, it wasn't visible on the map, not in the detailed OS map. So in the actual walk, I continued up to the Hydro Dam, which is situated here. It is easier to go to the right and follow this light gravel track, which I used on the descent. Now I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So we're not far from the summit at this point. There's only about a couple of kilometres left to go. Fairly steep going, and when I mapped out the route, and if I look at the satellite image on OS Maps, it looks fairly straightforward. There's a gorge, not a deep gorge, but there's a gorge here, and if you follow that, you can take that all the way up to the Beinn at this point up here. But when I arrived, I discovered there was a deer fence, and the deer fence cuts across somewhere around about here. There is a gate through that deer fence, and that gate is over here, which is why I've replotted the route. I'll show it on Google Maps because the Google satellite image is actually more up to date, and I had not checked that before the walk. This is the image on Google Maps. So you can see that gravel track. I think it was used to plant a whole lot of forestry trees, and you can see all the tracks where they've been planting those trees. The route I've plotted goes up this gravel road to this point here, and then comes up here to here, and then you go up this narrow strip, and the gate is over here. So you go through the gate there, through the deer fence, and you can see from the image here, they've not planted any trees up this section. So you'll be able to walk up this section and then go through that gate. And I explain in the video where they've planted trees. There are lots of large bucket-sized holes where they've excavated some ground to put around the root ball of the tree. So it's tricky walking across here. So we'll go back to the route. So that's that stretch of land right there where the gate is at the top. Then from the gate, you want to just make your way up to the Beinn over here. The fissures I mentioned are somewhere around here. They're away from the stream, so if you were to follow the fence back along to the stream and then just go up the stream, you'd have no risk. And when there's no snow, it's clear to see where those fissures are. All of this ground is very soft, some of it quite wet. It's not terrible. This section here was quite wet. And then you make your way up to the Beinn. Once you get onto the Beinn, go back to the normal view, there is a walking path that goes across and takes you up to the summit trig point with a windbreak around it. On a good day you get great views of the Arrochar Alps to the northeast, and then you've got Beinn Lomond directly to the east. For this descent, simply retrace your steps, same route that you ascended. On a clear day, it is very easy to make your way down because you're heading down this valley. The gate on the descent is a little bit out of view just due to the geography of the landscape. You can easily see the deer fence. Head down towards the deer fence and then go around that to the gate. Once you're through the gate, head back down to the gully and then across back onto the gravel road. Once you're on the gravel road, it is a really easy walk back out. A little bit steep descending down here. Follow the gravel road all the way back down to the car park. Good morning. I'm at the John Lauder Memorial Car Park for the start of the walk up Beinn Bheula. This car park's on the west side of Beinn Bheula. Most people would climb it from the east. Looks like there's a good road up to some sort of hydro dam and then no path up to the ridgeline. It's a lovely calm day. Overcast. All of the Munros in this area are meant to be in cloud. Hopefully the top is just below that and we get some views. So from the car park, head back out the entrance and down that logging road there. You're going to go straight ahead and then turn to the left. The time is 9:05 in the morning. It's a steep start up this well-made gravel road. Looks like it's seen a bit of use recently. I'm going to turn off to the left and go along this smaller gravel road. You can see the war memorial down there. Some cloud on the tops over there. Very slow movement in the cloud. Not a lot of wind at the moment. When you come to this big wide junction, we go up the right hand side. You can see the ridges in cloud. You're going to follow the woods round to the right and up the valley. This path gets even steeper. A little bit of blue sky. The gradient's getting a little bit easier and you can almost see the summit. It's in light cloud at the moment. Good part of the ridge is clear. There are some darker clouds coming in, and that's the direction the wind's coming from, blowing from the right across to the left. Just going to go round the right hand side and just make my way up this stream. Might go a little bit higher. A lot of little gullies like you see there that you're just going to have to get past. Looks like somebody's made a bit of a bridge there, but up ahead doesn't look much fun. And I'm not planning to do a gorge walk today. So I'm just going to cross over here and then up the other side. I see one potential challenge. There's a deer fence up there. So there may not be any stile or crossing point. So we'll see how that goes straight ahead. I'm coming up to that deer fence, looking for any gates or gaps with the gullies go underneath it. Doesn't look very optimistic. Doesn't look like there's a gate in it. So I was walking along this fence line, I've spotted a gate and it's open, it's over there. So I'm going to make my way across there. I'll show the route on the map going directly up to that gate. Save you making the same mistake as me. From there you'll go through the gate, turn to the left, up to that ridge line there, and then you just make your way up. A little bit of a detour. I'm just going to come back the same way, but I'll go directly down to the hydro dam, straight down here towards that pine tree you can see. I want to go across there, join the next stream and then follow that up to the right. "500 metres in distance to the Bheula, and you're just going directly east at this point, following that stream up to the ridge. I'm currently at 600 metres altitude, 150 metres altitude to climb to the Bheula, another 30 to the summit. It's clearing up slightly. That section was steep. I did a bit of zigzagging left to right to try and make it easier. Bheula is directly ahead. Summit is 40 metres higher up on the left. It was visible a moment ago, but only just. Clouds coming in. Once you get onto the top of the Bheula, there is a path that goes between the two tops. That route was difficult, easy to navigate, but this mossy, spongy grass, it's almost like walking through a foot of snow. Only difference is you don't have those hidden holes that you have with snow. 40 metres to go in altitude. Just follow this path. At this point, heading north. Just approaching the summit of Beinn Bheula. Easy to recognise this summit. Circular trig point with a windbreak around it. Taking me 2 hours and 35 minutes to get to the top. The moss and grass section is very slow going, especially with the detour I took on the way up. Will be a lot easier and quicker descending. Cloud is easing up very slightly as I approach the summit. That's looking south, the direction the wind's coming from. See, there's some big drops off to the east side of the summit. Directly east is Beinn Bheula. Unfortunately, can't see it today. And then you've got the Arrochar Alps to the north. So the Cobbler, Beinn Narnain. Might get a view of them in a moment. I'm going to go across to the north side of the summit. A very brief clearing of the cloud. I'll stop and have some lunch and see how it goes. I read that this one had a sign on it about damage to the trig point. 25-year-old trig point. Break time's over, it's 12 o'clock, it's not cleared up much at all. Going to head directly south, back down to the Bheula, and then from there directly west down to that deer fence. So from here it's straight ahead. Bheula is just ahead down there. At that point, turn to your right, directly west, and follow the gully all the way down to the hydro dam. Very easy to navigate. Only thing you have to do is go to the left around that deer fence on the descent. I'm now down at the Bheula, turning to the right, descending down to the west. You're aiming down for the bottom of the V, the valley there next to the trees, but with that gate to go through on the left hand side, I'm going to start going across towards this other little Bheula which was above the gate. It's slightly less steep of a descent and it's taking me in the right direction. I'm on the exact same path, or the exact same route that I ascended. A couple of big holes in the ground here, I passed them earlier. There's that gully that goes all the way down. Just going to go straight down a little bit and then bend off to the left. I cut across to the left just a little bit too soon. There's a bit of a drop down here. Nothing too difficult, but easier just to go back to the right and around it and then descend down through there. Still can't see the fence yet. Ah, there it is, over there. It's definitely easier to descend, but it's still a pain in the backside. Did lose my foot in a hole at one point that I didn't see, so you do have to be careful. Just ahead should be the gate and the fence. You can see the fence, it's just over there. Just as well I know there's a gate because the landscape hides it from you. It's about 100 metres away, straight ahead. Now that I'm at the gate, really simple to navigate. You just go down, follow any of the streams that you come across, as long as you're heading westward. And there's that single pine tree down there. That's what you're aiming for. I'm going to go a little bit to the left and see if it's easier to go across the top and then down to the hydro dam. I'll just make your way down here. If you're watching this video in about 10 or 15 years time, this might not be crossable. A lot of tree saplings have been planted on this side, the south side of this valley. There was none on the way up. Anyway, just keep heading down. If you choose to follow this path down through the saplings, there are a lot of holes. Looks like they dig out a big hole and use that earth to cover up the root ball of the sapling. So wherever there's a little sapling, there's a big hole. I showed this unmarked road earlier. There's a little bridge down there, just up from the hydro. There's the hydro dam. It curves round here a little bit to the left. I'll follow it and see if it descends down towards the dam. Well, that was handy. It joins back up to the gravel road that goes to the hydro dam. So the dam's up there a little bit on the right. I never noticed that on the way up. Walked right by it. So back in this gravel road, a nice easy walk out now. Turn right at this junction with this big gravel road. Just down round the corner back to the car park. If you've made it to this point, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to showing you more in the next one. Bye for now. It's now 20 past 1, an hour and 15 minutes to descend, and a total time since leaving the car park of 4 hours and 15 minutes.